सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ श्री गणेशाय नमः। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं परमानन्दमाधवम्। Hari Om and pranams to all. Welcome to this monthly sadhana day series that is organized by our home study courses. In this series we have been discussing about different kinds of sadhanas. So just to recap, the word sadhana means sadhyate anena, that by which we can attain something is called sadhana. Rasvakaranta, sadhana. But when we speak of sadhana, it has a additional connotation, and that is spiritual practices. So sadhana word can be used generally for anything. Say for example, I want to go from one place to another place. Then vehicle, car, bus, train is sadhana. Suppose I want to write something, so pen becomes sadhana. That by which I can achieve the task of writing, that by which I can achieve the task of going somewhere. So sadhana word means the instrument or the means by which we can attain, and therefore it is a general word that can be used everywhere. But especially when we say sadhana, it refers to spiritual practices. Now we are not just talking about anything, not about any sadhana, but specifically to attain spiritual goal of self-realization, what are the practices that we are doing? That is called as sadhana. In another way, if we look at it, tapas, what is called in the Shastras, is nowadays we call it by the word sadhana. Tapas, of course, has got little more vehement kind of doings, that you purposely give trouble to your body, to your mind, etc., so that through the practice we become pure. Sadhana may not have that kind of severity to it, but still the main concept is same. Sadhana refers to spiritual practices. In general, we use the word sadhana for the practices such as puja, japa, dhyana, stotra chanting. This is what we generally call as sadhana. When you say, I am doing my sadhana, how is your sadhana going on? Are you doing your sadhana? So when we refer to that word sadhana, we refer to these kind of practices. However, in spirituality, swadhyaya is also one important kind of sadhana, which is what we are going to focus on in today's session. Svadhyaya is also a kind of sadhana. Those who have been listening to spirituality for a long time from Chinmay Mission, generally we speak of 3 S. Svadhyaya, sadhana and seva. You must have heard. Swadhyaya, generally in that context, Swadhyaya refers to Jnana Marga, Sadhana refers to Bhakti Marga, Bhakti Yoga, and Seva refers to Karma Yoga or Karma Marga. Now, when we say Swadhyaya, Sadhana, Seva as 3 different things, yes, it does refer to a particular kind of things that we are doing. In Svadhyaya, it is the path of knowledge. We are doing study of a particular scripture. Sadhana in that context refers to bhakti sadhana, where just now as I explained, puja, japa, chintana, stotra chanting, these are all coming under sadhana there. And seva is service with the attitude of karma yoga. So we do speak of these three things independently, but whether we do swadhyaya or seva, it is sadhana alone. Why? Because we are not doing it for any other purpose. Please understand the correct context. Svadhyaya, we will see what is the meaning, etc. Simple meaning is study of scriptures. Now that study of scriptures can be taken up academically, can be taken up as a profession, can be taken up to become famous. But here in this context, we are not doing all that for this purpose. We are not studying scriptures so that we will become famous. We are studying scriptures to reach the spiritual goal. You understand? And because it is the means to reach spiritual goal, it is a practice which we are supposed to do daily to reach a spiritual goal, it can still come under sadhana. Okay? First thing that we all must understand as spiritual seekers is, we need to stop compartmentalizing all our sadhanas, saying that this is what is sadhana, whatever I do outside is not sadhana. It is not like that. Any daily seva also we are doing. Suppose we are going and performing particular act of kindness, let us say giving some dana to somebody, going and teaching to poor people who cannot get any other way of studying, or organizing a program which will help the society. Please remember that that also will become sadhana if the goal is spiritual. So whether it is swadhyaya, whether it is seva, both of them can become sadhana if the goal is spiritual. Is this concept clear? I will tell you why I am explaining this, because many times when we speak of sadhana, we don't think that this is all also coming under sadhana. Many people, they come for camps, etc. They say, Veji, here, so many classes are there. I am not getting time for my sadhana. Attending class is your sadhana only. You are getting a chance to study scriptures. You are taking time out to reflect. You are sitting in Shankaracharya's birth room to meditate. That is sadhana only. Now, what do you mean by sadhana that you need separate time? Many of us are part of Chinmay Mission centers in different places, and we have lots of programs coming up, especially in this Amrita Mahotsav, so we have lots of programs. Now again, when they get into organizing such programs and administration, etc., then they say, oh Veji, there is so much of work happening, there is no time for sadhana. My dear, what you are doing is sadhana only. Suppose you are given a job of a telephone operator. You have to take calls and guide people, whoever is calling for the program. That itself can become sadhana. So, please open up your minds and understand that this sadhana is not just a particular action that is to be done in a particular way, in a particular place. No, everything can come under sadhana, even our daily acts. What do you mean by daily acts? I get up, I take bath, I eat, I sleep. Even that can become sadhana if the goal is spiritual. If you say that the food that I am eating is also for my upliftment, Atmano mokshaya jagat hitaya cha. This is generally what is said as the goal. Atmano mokshaya, for oneself to attain liberation, jagat hitaya, and for benefiting the world. So even our daily acts can become sadhana. Alright, now we are talking about a particular sadhana in this session, and that is Svadhyaya. Svadhyaya. What do you mean by Svadhyaya? Swa Adhyaya. Adhyaya means adhitihi, gaining knowledge, study. Adhyaya here is not in the meaning of chapter. There is another meaning of the word Adhyaya, isn't it? Pratamodhyaya, first chapter. Actually, that is also called Adhyaya because we are supposed to study it. See what great our ancestors were. They called the chapter Adhyaya because we are supposed to study. Aditi, that which we study. That's why chapter also is called as Adhyaya. But here Adhyaya means study. Svadhyaya. Now, Swa means oneself. Swa means oneself. Now, Svadhyaya has two meanings. One meaning is study by oneself, what is generally referred to as self-study. Okay, we will come to each topic. Just understand the meaning first. Self-study, Swadhyaya. Or another meaning of Swadhyaya is study of the self. Swasya Adhyaya. Swayam Adhyaya. Swayam means you yourself are doing. Swasya of the self means you are not studying worldly science. You are not studying physics, chemistry, mathematics, biology. You are studying yourself. You are studying your own self, S capital. That also becomes the meaning of Swadhyaya. In our schools, etc., sometimes the word Svadhyaya was used. I don't know in how many schools it was used. Whenever they want to give homework, actually the word for homework is Griha Karyam. Griha Karyam means homework, that which you are supposed to do at home. But then they understood that some of them are staying in the hostel, some of them are staying in the school itself, boarding school. So you can't say homework. So the term which was used was Swadhyaya, self-study. So all other times you are coming in the school, sitting together and studying. Now you go yourself and yourself you study. It's called Swadhyaya, which also applies here. Swadhyaya can refer to self-study. That's why in the poster also what we had said, daily self-study. Now that self-study being what do you call Samastapada, a compound word, again can have two meanings. Self-study means study by oneself or study of oneself. Both are the correct meanings of Swadhyaya. Self-study or study of the self. Combining the two meanings, you can also say Swadhyaya means study of the self by the self. Gurudev used to, Swami Chinmayananji very beautifully explain that this path of self-realization, one has to walk alone. There can be other people with you when you are studying, but that doesn't mean they are with you in study. Please carefully understand. Each one is following their own path to self-realization. We may come together, for some time and study together. It may look like that, but each one is studying on one's own. Gurudev used to say, alone to alone, all alone. That is this path. Alone, you are starting with yourself. You are reaching the self which is alone. All alone, all the way through, you are alone only. Right? Not lonely. Alone. Lonely is miserable situation. What to do, Swami? Nobody is there. That is lonely. Nobody is there. That is alone. You understand the difference? You are happy in walking the path alone. Why? Because this path cannot be walked together. Yes, some of us can come together for some time and it may look like we are walking together, but actually each one is walking their own path. Right? So, Swadhyaya refers to both study of the self by the self. Now, in Shastras, the word Swadhyaya also has a very specific meaning, very, what do you say, as Paribhashika Shabda, technical term. In the Vedas, especially when the word Swadhyaya is used, it refers to reading the portion of Veda that is allotted to you. Swadhyaya means reading daily the portion of Veda that is allotted to you. So, in our tradition, what was there was, when the Vedas became books, Veda earlier was a knowledge, and as knowledge, Each guru used to teach that knowledge to the shishyas, and shishyas will learn, later on will become guru and will teach. Now later on, when Bhagavan Vedavyasji found out that people's memory is slowly decreasing, their retention power is decreasing, what he did was, he compiled that entire knowledge into 4 volumes, 4 books. That's what we call today as Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda. And then these 4 different volumes were given to 4 different disciples to protect and propagate. So what happens because of this? That particular Veda is the responsibility of that student. Now, in turn, what happened after that? This one particular disciple who was given, let us say, Rig Veda, when he taught that Rig Veda to his disciples, all of them were supposed to protect Rig Veda. But again, Rig Veda is huge. So what did he do? He had different shakhas, different branches within Rig Veda are there. So he to his disciples gave one shakha that they have to protect and propagate. That doesn't mean that they cannot study other things. Please. It doesn't mean suppose one shakha is allotted to me, means I cannot study other shakha, or if I am from Rig Veda, I am not supposed to study Yajur Veda. Nothing like that. You can study whatever else you want, but this portion is your responsibility. You have to study this. So that way, then, through Vedavyasji's 4 disciples, each disciple having multiple disciples, and each given one shakha, one branch of the allotted Veda to protect. Later on, what happened? It became part of family tradition. Kula dharma or kulachara it became. Means what? In each family, there will be one Veda that is allotted. In that Veda, there will be one shakha, one branch of that Veda which is allotted, and in that branch also there will be one Upanishad which is allotted. So what happens? Every single child being born in that family is supposed to study or read that portion of the Veda daily. Imagine what an unbelievable system this is. So at any given time, in the entire society, the entire Veda is present. You understand? There will be some exceptional people who will study much more portion of Veda. Very good. But not everybody is capable of that. But at any given time, this entire community system, when they come together, they will be able to recite the entire Veda. Of course, even this system could not survive because of the foreign invasions, because of we losing track of our tradition, because of us becoming more and more extrovert and going towards the worldly pleasures. Yes, that all happened, but it still survives today. In many of the families, even today, that portion of Veda is chanted. Please, it is not a tradition that has stopped. No, in some of the families, even now it is going on. Right? So, reading the portion of the Veda that is allotted to you is called Svadhyaya, a technical term in Vedas. Right? And therefore in Vedas it is said Svadhyayo adhyetavyaha. Swadhyaya should be done daily. Swadhyaya pravachanabhyam na pramaditavyam. Very famous portion from the Taittiriya Upanishad, which is called Shishyanushasana. There this line comes, Svadhyaya pravachanabhyam na pramaditavyam. You should not be careless about Svadhyaya and pravachana, means study and propagation. You should always do daily. Deva pitrakaryabhyam na pramaditavyam, etc., etc. So, Svadhyaya became part of daily duty. Nitya karma it became. So just as after Upanayana Samskara you are supposed to chant Gayatri Mantra, you are supposed to do Sandhya Vandana, after marriage you are supposed to do Agnihotra, like that after Upanayanam you are supposed to chant that portion of Veda which is allotted to you. Now in case you are still from the family and the tradition is still continuing and you know which portion of Veda you are supposed to chant as family tradition, please continue to do that. That's why in most of the places where we meet our elders and we prostrate to our elders, we are supposed to introduce ourselves. Have you seen this? Especially this is well preserved in Tamil families. Even in them, Tamil Brahmins. Even today when you go, they will immediately come in front of the elders, they will touch both their ears and they will recite some things in Sanskrit. Now what are they telling? They are telling, I belong to this family, this is my gotra, this is my father, this is my name. We belong to this particular Veda, Krishna Yajurvediya, Shukla Yajurvediya, Rigvediya, whatever. And then in that Krishna Yajurveda we belong to Taittiriya Shakha. In that also Taittiriya Upanishad Adhyayi, we are supposed to chant Taittiriya Upanishad daily. So like that they will introduce themselves and then they will prostrate. Okay. See, some of our traditions were so good, I am telling you. So anytime you meet your elders, you don't ask the question, do you remember me? Very difficult. Elders become so much, embarrassed, because with age, your memory starts to fade. You can't really remember everybody, and suddenly the person whom you are meeting probably after a long time. That person was a child at that time, now he has grown up. How are you supposed to know? We remember, I remember, or you may remember, I don't remember. So our system was, you come and introduce yourself, that I am so and so. Okay, and not just they are telling about themselves. See what pride is there in telling about the entire family. I belong to this family, this is my father, and we belong to this particular Veda, this particular Shaka, we are chanting this particular Upanishad daily. So some of the families are still retaining that particular tradition, which is very good and which should be done. Swadhyaya refers to study or reading that portion of Veda daily. However, most of us, we do not know. We belong to family, possible. Gotra also many of us don't remember. Gotra means one who started this entire family line. Some rishi, that also we don't know. We belong to which Veda, which Shakha, which Upanishad, nothing we know. So then what should we do, Vedji? So Svadhyaya has another meaning also, and which is spiritual texts should be studied daily. We see this very clearly when Bhagavan Shankaracharya, right at the beginning in Sadhana Panchakam, mentions this, Vedo Nityam Adhiyatam. First step only he is telling is, study the Vedas daily. Isn't it? Study the Vedas daily. Now, it can again refer to a particular section of Veda. It can refer to that if you know. But if you don't know, what does it mean? Study the scriptures daily. That is called Svadhyaya. Now, before we go into what are the scriptures and how, let us understand what do you mean by study. Study has different aspects. Reading is one aspect. Listening to the discourse on that scripture is another aspect. Most of the times we learn scriptures through these two means. Correct? Either we read that particular text as it is, or we listen to somebody explaining that scripture. Let us say some 500, 600 years back maybe, or maybe more than that. People understood Sanskrit because Sanskrit was their everyday usage language. So then, for them, reading Mahabharata, reading Ramayana, reading Bhagavad Gita, reading the Upanishad, the moment they read, they will understand. Today what has happened? Sanskrit is not a very well-known language for all of us. So we listen to what? We listen to somebody else explaining the scripture. So listening also has become one important aspect of Svadhyaya. Reading as well as listening. These are the two ways by which we are gaining the knowledge. Right? But that is not sufficient. Swadhyaya is not just reading and listening. Swadhyaya is study. So study has few more aspects associated with it. What are they? Number one, after you study, after you read or listen, you are supposed to reflect. Reflect on the knowledge that you are listening to or reading. This is what in our Shastras called as manana. So Shravana is the first step. You are listening to the exposition on the scriptures, you are reading the scriptures and listening to it. Second step is manana. Manana means reflection, independent reflection. What do you mean independent reflection? This is where the aspect of self-study comes. When you sit in a class, when you are listening to the exposition of the scripture, it is the teacher's, the guru's knowledge and methodology that you are listening to. The thought flow is guru's thought flow or the acharya's thought flow that you are listening to. But then what happens? If we just stick to it, it will remain that teacher's knowledge. It will not become my knowledge unless I reflect on it independently. Independently means outside the classroom. Once I have listened, once I have read something, then I must take independent reflection. Very beautiful example is given, that of a cow. You must have seen cow eats lot of things, grass, etc. it eats, and then that cow goes quietly and sits in a place and then brings back that food and chews. Have you seen? Very beautifully it chews. Why? Then only whatever the cow has eaten will become digestible. We also listen to many people on the scriptures. But just listening will not work. Yes, listening is first step. Agreed. We read also so many things, but just reading is not sufficient. What you have to do after reading or after listening, you have to chew on that knowledge. Bring back that knowledge, process it so that it becomes digestible for us. You understand? Just listening will remain their knowledge, the teacher's knowledge. What do? We chew it. That chewing process is called reflection. Independently, you bring back those ideas. What the teacher was telling today, oh, it is like this. Why is he saying like this? Is there any other way of looking at it? But I have heard something, somewhere else. Does it follow? Does it go correctly according to what he has said today? Is there any gap in my thinking? After this point, he said this. How did he go from here to here? What point am I missing? Now, this is called reflection. You not only listen, but then you start to reflect on that knowledge. Okay, this is what it is. Okay, this is what this. So, you start to put everything in the correct place, in the correct order. This is called manana. This is very much part of study. Just listening, reading is not sufficient. You need to digest that knowledge, and for that reflection is very important. Manana is very important. Now, there are various ways of reading or listening we have seen. In the same way, there are many ways of reflection also. Some of us, as we said, independently may study. Bring back and just start to think about it. Even when you are traveling somewhere or you are just sitting and you start to think, okay, this is what I listened to today. This is the class I heard. What happened? That is one way. Another way also can be making your notes. When you are listening also, probably you are making some rough notes. But then after the class is over, take those notes and make it into fair notes. Make it into proper notes, where again when you start writing those notes, you go through the entire process again, and whatever logical gaps are there in your understanding will become clear when you are making those notes. That's another way of reflection. This notes taking and making them, very perfecting your notes, or even what you call as, making that notes concise, smaller, that also is a brilliant way. This is how I used to study when I was in Sandipani. We'll have one set of notes when we are listening in the class, right? When Swamiji is telling, and then you note down some points. Then you come back to room and you make those notes fair, because sometimes you have not completed a sentence, you have just wrote a point in the class, then you make it complete sentence, you start elaborating on what this means. There can be some duplications in the class notes, then you put all those things together, bring all the points which are related to one topic together, make the fair notes, make the systematic structured notes. And then when you complete the notes of the entire text, let us say, or entire section, you make it concise. Probably your notes are 10 pages, 15 pages, 20 pages, the final notes. Now try to make it into one page. Single page summary of all the important points of the notes. Now what happens when you are trying to make this concise summary, you again go through all the ideas. And again you understand the logical flow, you understand what are the important points and the connection between them. This is also very good way of manana, which is very much part of Svadhyaya. Swadhyaya not just means listening or reading, it means study, it means reflection also, and reflection can be done in many ways. Number one, you can just sit and reflect. Number two, you can work on your notes. Third method of reflection is through discussion. Many people who have gone through the same talk or same lecture or study of the same scriptures, now you sit together with them and you discuss what I have understood, what the other person has understood, what is it that I have not understood. Then that person may add on to something. That person may say, I think this is the most important point of today's class. Somebody else may say, no, I think that point was more important, or I found that more important. Or I think, this point was also, teacher just touched upon it, but it was very important for me. Through discussion also, lot of reflection happens, because you are suddenly exposed to certain aspects of the session or of the scripture which you did not focus on earlier. See, the same teacher explaining, but different students will understand differently. Why? Because students learn what they want to learn, not what the teacher is trying to teach. So each one may get different points. Now when you discuss, all those points come together in front of us and we understand, oh, this is also correct. This I did not understand in the class, or I did not understand this in this way. I thought it is that way, but now that clarification has happened. So even discussion becomes a very good tool of reflection. And that is why in Chinmay Mission, the system that Puja Gurudev established, there used to be study group. There is why there used to be. They started with study group. Means you have listened to certain text. Some Upanishad you might have listened to, some Gita you might have listened to, or Prakana Grantha you might have listened to. Now you discuss. Weekly you meet or daily you meet and you discuss. Right? Some kind of study is required before you enter into discussion group. Please understand. You must have listened and read the scripture. You must have made your notes and formulated your thoughts and ideas about it. And then you enter into discussion, it will be fruitful. If you go without studying, without any, just go, you will still get something, but you will not get the main benefit of the discussion. Only when you prepare yourself and go, then there is a lot that you can get from the discussion. Becomes a very important aspect of manana. Right? Fourth important aspect of manana, or fourth way of doing manana, is when you start teaching it to others. That's why in the Upanishad also we saw Svadhyaya pravachanabhyam na pramaditavya. Swadhyaya is immediately followed by pravachana. Pravachana doesn't mean you have to give big lectures. No, no. Even a simple point that you have understood, when you start explaining to somebody else, actually you go through the entire point more systematically, in much more structured way. When you start explaining it to others, you start to understand what that point actually means. Again, that is why our Gurudev kept this system of Sandipani students. After completing Sandipani and after taking Diksha, they go to different centers and they start to talk. That talk is not just for, this sense that, oh, you all are ignorant people, come here, I am going to give you knowledge. Not that attitude. You talk so that it becomes clear to you. Speaker is the first listener and teacher is the best student. Always remember these 2 points. Why? Because when I start to teach, I actually go through the whole thing and I myself understand, okay, this point is clear, but in between I have missed something. The student may not understand, the student may still find, oh, wow, what a class, but you know that you have some logical disconnect between the ideas. So when you start to teach, it becomes very good method of reflection. So different methods, independently you can just think. Second is notes taking, making it, systematic notes and making it concise notes. Third we saw is discussion, and fourth we saw is through pravachana, through you yourself talking. Now you may say, Vedji, I want to talk but nobody wants to listen. That is highly possible. Also a lot of it depends on what kind of person you are and how much you talk. That is also, see, all these aspects are important. If you keep talking all the time, nobody wants to listen. Only when you pick your words carefully and you open your mouth only when it is required, then everybody will listen. But in case you are in a situation where you say that, Vedji, nobody is listening, no problem. There are very good ways. What? You go and sit in front of mirror and you talk. You can do that, no? So there what happens? Speaker is also you, listener is also you. You can't run away from yourself. And especially if you have that desire of teaching, then naturally you can't stop yourself from listening also. You have to listen. Or you have some trees or plants at your home, go in front of them and explain. Hey, plant, listen, today I listened about this Svadhyaya concept. You start. So Svadhyaya also, Vedji said, is a type of sadhana. Sadhana means what? You start. Sadhana means what? Sadhana means what? And then how Svadhyaya can also become sadhana. And Svadhyaya means not just reading, but it can also mean this. And in the Vedic times, you start explaining. Why? Because that Svadhyaya is for you. That pravachana, what you are explaining, is for your study. So that you can do even in front of a mirror or in front of a tree. Stone also is okay. Wall also is okay. But you start to put it as though you are explaining. Then what happens? Then little more reflection, little more minute details you get into. I hope you are understanding what I am saying. Right? So, Shravana followed by Manana becomes Svadhyaya. And then the third step is Nididhyasana. You sit and contemplate, meditate on these ideas that you have listened to and then you have reflected upon. Meditate on them so that they are digested into your system. Ideas you listen and then manana happens in the brain and then you allow it to settle in your heart so that it is digested. So that Nididhyasana also will become part of Swadhyaya. We will come to Nididhyasana later. First step is listen and reflect. This is the core of Svadhyaya. So, this Svadhyaya we must do. Svadhyaya Adhyatavya. This meaning also is there. How it should be done, it should be done like a sadhana. Sadhana means what? Something that we do daily. Please note, not occasionally, not naimittika karma, nitya karma, daily duty it is. Not that in a year I go for two camps, two spiritual camps I go to. Once I go to Vibhuti, once I go to Siddhabari or Uttarkashi or CIF, Adi Shankar Nilayam. I go to this in a year 2 times. So that one week, that is different. That you go very good. But that is not Svadhyaya sadhana. Swadhyaya sadhana is something that we do daily. So every day we must either listen to something or read or reflect. In reflection, we have seen different aspects. Independently, just think about it, notes taking, and then discussion or teaching. Daily we have to do this. I am not saying daily you have to do everything. I am saying one day you may study, you may listen to something, one day you may read, one day you may make your notes proper, one day you may, that is fine. But every day, some time of our day should be allotted for Svadhyaya. Every day. It is a sadhana now. It is not an optional thing that you may do, you may not do, not like that. Are you understanding? It has to be done daily. I remember one person went to Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananji. He took the book, Holy Gita, Gurudev's commentary on Gita. He took and he said, I want your signature on this book. So Gurudev said, asked him his name. So while giving the name, he said, Dr. So and so. So Gurudev said, okay. So Gurudev, before signing, he wrote RX, that prescription. Read 2 pages daily. If the effect is not seen, double the dosage. Signed, Dr. Chinmayananda. This is what Svadhyaya is. You see, medicine is taken to remove a particular ailment or disease that we have, not optionally. You don't choose medicines. You don't say that today I am not in mood of taking medicine. Whether you are in mood or not, you have to take medicine. No, today I am very bored. Still you have to take medicine. Medicine is not an optional thing. In the same way, we all have got a disease which is called samsara. Bhava roga is common for all of us. To remove this bhava roga, daily sadhana is to be performed, and part of that daily sadhana is Svadhyaya. Every day we must study, whether we like it or not, whether we are bored or tired, it does not matter. We have to do it. But as I said, you can be flexible about it. Suppose one day you are continuously traveling, so you can reflect. Reflection can happen anywhere. That is also part of Svadhyaya only. Suppose one day you have internet connectivity, everything, you can listen to some talk. Very good, you listen. Suppose you can't do, read. You can't do, teach. What you have done, notes, make it. According to every day's your schedule, the kind of sadhana that you want to do may change, but it has to be done daily. That cannot change. Svadhyaya is a very important aspect of sadhana. Please note, we may do japa, we may do puja, we may do all that. That is necessary. I am not saying no at all, but I am saying Svadhyaya is as important. Why? Because the knowledge of scriptures, how to live life, is coming through that. If we don't study that, our transformation in our life will not be fastened, will not be hastened. Why? Because we may still remain in the same place. Puja, japa, etc. We may, to progress further, to proceed further, some kind of force, some kind of power is required behind that. Svadhyaya will give. So every day we have to study. Little bit you study, no problem. If you are reading, read 2 pages. If you are listening, listen to one talk, 20 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, whatever is that one talk. Make your notes, spend 1 hour on your reflection, either through discussion or reflection through notes or whatever way you want to reflect. Study, spend that 1 hour, that also is sufficient, but it should be done every day. I know many families, what they do is, they do it as a combined family activity, which is again a very interesting thing. So you not only read everything on your own, but everybody of the family, they read the same portion or they listen to the same portion or they discuss the same portion. Chinmay Mission USA had come up with this 365, Gita 365. Every day one short clip of Bhagavad Gita of Gurudev will be shared, 3-minute, 4-minute video. Now I know some of the families, what they will do is daily whatever clip has come, they will all watch independently and then they will get on a call for 15-20 minutes and will discuss about that one talk that they listen to. I tell you, such a great family activity, isn't it? We are all probably in different places doing different things, but something that connects all of us together. It can be part of our daily puja ritual or daily prayer ritual. Many families, evening time they come together and they chant certain portion. At the same time, you can read certain portion also. You can discuss some portion also. Very good activity to do. Individually also, as a family also. As community, I have already told you, study groups, etc. are there, which everybody, can join. Nowadays, online also, so many such platforms are available, so many options are available, chances are there. But it should be done. My point is, don't give any reason to yourself for not doing it. One important aspect of Svadhyaya is self-study. Study by yourself. Nobody else should tell you. Also, somebody may say, Vijay, how Shravana is self-study? You are listening to somebody else. Yeah, but you are listening, no? The other person is talking, but you are listening. So, it is still by yourself only. Svadhyaya, it is still part of. If you can't listen, you read. If you can't do that, reflect. Everything is by oneself. This is called as Svadhyaya, which becomes part of daily sadhana. Now, somebody may ask, Veji, okay, very good, thank you for all this information. But my question, where should I start? I agree that I must study daily, but there are so many texts. So many things are there. Prakarana Granthas are there, Sadhana Panchakam, Tattvabodh, Atmabodh, Bhaja Govindam, Viveka Chudamani, and so many. Then we have Upanishads, etc. also, very tough text. That is also there. Brahma Sutra. Some of you may be interested in this. I find very interesting. This higher Vedantic text, people are very much interested in. Avadhuta Gita, I am studying. Ashtavakra Gita, I am studying. But have you learnt anything basic? No. Everybody was telling Ashtavakra Gita, very interesting, I should. So where to start? How to do? Of course, you must be aware that in our home study courses itself, there is a proper system of study. There is Foundation Vedanta course, Advanced Vedanta course, Gita course, Upanishad course, Master Gita, Master. There is a proper systematic way of studying that, of course, you can do, you can follow that. But if you need to follow one scripture, that one scripture is Bhagavad Gita. Now again, in Bhagavad Gita, there are 700 slokas, 18 chapters are there. From where should I start? So during this 75th year of Chinmay Mission, we are celebrating the Amrita Mahotsava, starting from 31st December of 2025. This 2026 complete year is 75th year of Chinmay Mission. Gurudev started his first talk he gave, first Jnana Yajna he started on 31st December in 1951 in Pune. So since then, now 74th year is completed on 31st December 2025, and this is the 75th year Amrita Mahotsava going on. So during this Amrita Mahotsava, one very interesting thing that Pujya Guruji Swami Tejomayananji and Pujya Swami Swarupananji has given us is study 5 verses of Bhagavad Gita thoroughly. So 5 verses out of 700 verses are chosen, are selected. They are called Gita Panchamrita. 5 nectarian verses from the Bhagavad Gita. You start from there. You start from there. What do you mean you start? You first learn to chant, then start chanting it every day. Then you learn the meaning. Then you understand the meaning yourself. Then try to put that meaning into your life and then teach it to other people. Exactly the steps of Svadhyaya, what we said. We read, we listen, then we understand ourselves, reflect and understand ourselves, and then we propagate. So you can start from there. Learn Gita Panchamrit first. Then you enter into Bhagavad Gita, then you can enter into others, Prakarana Granthas and Upanishads, etc. But every day, Svadhyaya has to happen. Are you getting what I am saying? Incidentally, I am also conducting one webinar on Gita Panchamrit. The details are shared here, which is next month from 14th to 20th of March. Every day of that week, evening 7 to 8, there will be this session. First, of course, 7 sessions are there. So, first session will be to understand what is Bhagavad Gita, why should we study Gita, and what is this Panchamrit. Then every other session will be on one verse of that Gita Panchamrit. That will cover 6 sessions. And last session will be for interaction, if some questions are there, and putting all the ideas together. So, that webinar also you all can join, Gita Panchamrit, which is happening in the coming month, in the month of March. Or if you are already part of certain, certain groups, certain courses, please continue. That also is a Svadhyaya only. But in any way, we have to study daily. I hope it is clear. Right? Now, if you want to ask any questions, you can ask. There are some questions that I have received in the chat, which I will answer, and then if anybody else wants to ask, a couple of questions we can take. Right. Is step 3, which we said in Manana, discussion, is it same as satsanga? Now again you have to define what do you mean by satsanga. Satsanga means company with noble. It can be just listening, it can be reading, but discussion is a very specific kind of satsanga where ideas are shared with each other. It will also become satsanga, but it is not same as satsanga because satsanga is much broader umbrella. Discussion is a part of it. That can also happen. I hope I have answered. Another person has asked, what are the 5 verses of Gita? For that you have to attend the webinar, no, Gita Panchamrit. Because I can't just tell what are the 5 verses. I have to tell why those 5 verses, what is the order, why they are important. Everything needs to be told. Right? So that is the answer to that. Another person also has asked, the answer remains same. What is sadhana? Sadhana I have explained right at the beginning. If you have joined little later, then you may have this question. Please listen to the talk again, then you will understand what I am talking about. Right. Okay. Another question. I can't seem to recall concepts that I study. Is this important? Any tips for improving recall? Yes, it is important. See, sometimes because of our age, etc., we listen to so many things and we don't remember everything. But as I said, it will help if we consolidate ideas that we have listened to in notes. That is one step that is very important, because then that is little more strengthened. We listen, it may remain little hazy. When you write down yourself, you put little more focus on it, then it is more strongly stored in your memory. When it is strongly stored, recall becomes easy. Because recall can happen when it is very well stored in the memory. That is one thing. Second thing, once in a while you should just read the notes that you have taken previously. That itself will revise so many concepts. And very interesting it is, because we ourselves have written. And we ourselves will be surprised, oh, I have written this, oh, I have studied this. That will happen. Why? It will refresh your ideas. So that is another way of recalling things. And third, as I said, when you start teaching, the recall becomes even more easier, because suddenly while explaining one concept, you may remember something from another. You are explaining or understanding the concept of Gita, but suddenly you will remember one verse from Bhaja Govindam. So again, that will help in recalling. So the method that we have said just now, making notes, making it fair, making it systematic, concise, and then explaining it to somebody, that itself will help in recalling. Right. Daily prayers from Bhajnavali book, please suggest. That you have to choose yourself. I am not the one. See, I am not the suggesting kind of person. I am a democratic kind of person. Everything is given. You choose what you want to choose. Okay. If you are a Vishnu Bhakta, choose Vishnu Stotras. If you are a Shiva Bhakta, choose Shiva Stotras. If you are all kinds of Bhakta, then choose different Stotras every day. Monday Shiva, Tuesday Ganpati, Wednesday Vishnu. No problem. That you have to choose yourself. Study groups are usually not welcoming for discuss or self-understanding from one's perspective. They are not open. Okay. I don't know which study groups you go to, or either there is some change required in yourself. The topic that is going on, if you share some important point in short time, they will listen. If you start talking and don't allow other people to talk, then they will not listen. If you are going off topic, they will not listen. Right? And also remember, prarabdha is at work. If you deserve, you will get good study group. Okay. If you say that you are not getting good study group, probably you deserve this only. Okay. Don't try to change the system. You see what you can do and contribute. Which text to start with? I have already answered. Is study of Sanskrit also sadhana? If it is meant for spiritual goal, it is sadhana. If Sanskrit you are studying to gain more and more fame and money out of it, then it may not become sadhana. It depends on how you approach it. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.